Good morning. Good morning. Mijidi se ohoye. I trust you are well. And so happy is Yama. I feel my sorry. As you can see, my sorry, but many claim me 100%. All I've done is about 50%, and I'm actually me couldn't my better. No, this is not a fashion parade. Inti aya oba hanwa. The purpose agenda nase, so that confusion is so better. Maybe I'm a tenya sankro for no I am obaha. I get the body shamers. I get a group of people. And you need so much that I see the entire movie here. But anyway, listen, I will try and manage you as best as I can. But you will have to try and help yourself to be manageable so that we can relate on this. This is a progress discussion I'm about to have. So that progress discussion will be. I want it to transform said what's here. The person unya addition. Ade a mede bekyerɛw no ne link mede ato ase ɛwɔ obetimi akoso na won so akofolo. You can get a 7-day free trial. Remember say when you are doing so person otokoso a obe cancel and send 7 days na aso. Now ade we yankasa, the funny thing is the whole year $89. It's not the end of the world. The whole year $89. I mean, the crown in the first place. Me de chire we are na fe ye di nkomo. Nsi atre. I need to share a friend is saying with you. There we go. Screen when I'm person me share. Na me nemo. You're digging so. App no your friend a Blinkist. You can go on the app and you can go on version no I may say me. And this is the book I'm reading with my audience, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. But what about Blinkist? This is what Blinkist does. It summarizes it and near my mouth. What's here say? And as you can see, page ya me with me. So you see, I summarize your mama in the Quran. It said, I can also do this.
Blink number 1. Whatever you do in life will be a struggle. So you need to find the struggle that's right for you.
Bam.
What do you really want out of life? In other words, what's your ultimate goal? The achievement you want written on your headstone?
Ooh.
It's not such an easy question to answer, is it?
No.
Sure, many of us will claim that we want happiness, a loving family, and a job we enjoy. But these are pretty vague ambitions. And vague ambitions are problematic because they won't push you to strive for success.
Whoa!
Unfortunately, if you want to get anywhere in life, you'll have to struggle. Achieving your goals will require hard work and plenty of perseverance. It's guaranteed that there will be setbacks and hardships on the way. If you don't have a goal you're determined to achieve, you'll falter in the face of this adversity. Let's say becoming a CEO is your goal. After all, being a CEO certainly sounds cool. Just think of all that power and responsibility. And yet, being a CEO is far from a walk in the park. CEOs regularly put in 60-hour work weeks.
Ouch.
They have to make tough decisions, and they need to be ready to fire people time and time again.
Ouch.
If you aren't hell-bent on becoming a CEO, you'll struggle with the hard work, and your chances of being a success will be slim.
Oh dear.
Since struggle is unavoidable, you have to find something worth struggling for.
Whoa.
You have to identify what you really enjoy doing. Working on something that makes you happy will mean you'll not only be undeterred by the constant battle, you'll grow to love it.
Correct.
Take the author. He realized that he really enjoyed writing about dating, and so he decided to focus on writing a dating advice blog. It was a challenge at first, but because he loved what he did, he thrived on the adversity. Eventually, the struggle paid off. The blog garnered hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and it paid more than enough for the author to make it his full-time job. There is no point looking for an easy life, one without adversity. The only way you'll get ahead is to find a goal that you want to struggle for. However, it's equally important to say no to all the struggles and tasks that don't bring you joy.
Cool.
Be ruthless and stop chasing the things in life that don't make you happy. Concentrate on the few great things and don't give a fuck about everything else.
Right. Short, tia. And yes, it can continue to read quite a lot of things to you. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Let's check and see if it's possible to hear me. Can you hear me? Pastor, can you answer my question for me, please? Can you hear me? Pastor, can you answer my question for me, please? Okay, you can hear me. Good. Nana Depa, it's the same. Sister Edna, it's the same. Me chamo. Na me internet ne fault our her, so I didn't know what was going on. App no me ne mochi, your friend Blinkist. Blinkist is one of the ways in which yenye good readers, we can still get out of the world what the world normally gets some knowledge, you can hear, thank God. Libaski medasi. Se unim saa no kure about enkrofo ya ye ne wo mo popular ya aya one, you know how to manage the way almost woman managing it be. Unim tools, now you use their tools, and if you use their tools, you are likely to be able to get some of their outcomes. Libaski, I hope Tema Community 3 is treating you well. Happy, your friend Blinkist. Blinkist is one of the ways that Nancy modern executives and Crawford but woman near Daji. CEOs of the big companies cited Blinkist as one of the places that through books. They take the usual books, they read the books, they summarize the books, and they bring Momo friend blinks. The blinks are short, condensed versions of the book. No? You will still get majority of the learning from book when you use Blinkist. But you don't sit for hours a read, and especially you lazy readers. For whatever reason, we a lazy reader. It could be said it could be said the kind one I won't pay. It's a subtle art of not giving a fuck. Orange book no I make in blinks. And it's teaching you some of this book is one of the things I read because it's of fundamentals of enema. It's back on I can or say who in here so was suffering beyond fast when so now we chase it. But the second point in it is that suffering can lead to great things. But if you don't have the right values, you will never be happy. And happiness is actually linked in with values. It will read through this one too. You see the guitarist Dave Mustaine, and one of my favorite stories from book reading. This is about guy be an or your friend say Grace Anita, good morning. Or band bim. Band and sign a contract and one a microphone decided so will be in every band microphone no ye into walk on the room no or catch it woman say kwa ye Angelina it's saying Okoko drew the chrome or Betsy band for from Obema band no I successful as sing and crofoi or big goon crofoi anymase no munina who is no it was not a good idea to remove him. My own kind we and discuss the story with me and Sani Yako.
Blink number 2. Suffering can lead to great things, but if you don't have the right values, you'll never be happy. The best examples of success through struggle can be found in the art world. After all, we tend to imagine the quintessential artist as poverty-stricken and underappreciated, someone who refuses to give in until her genius is recognized. And this stereotype is actually more accurate than you'd imagine. Consider the guitarist Dave Mustaine. In 1983, Mustaine was thrown out of his band when they were right on the cusp of fame. Seething with anger at the rejection, Mustaine became determined to show his former bandmates just how wrong they'd been. For 2 years, he worked relentlessly to improve his skills and find the musicians to make an even better band. The band he went on to form was Megadeth, a hugely popular band that went on to sell over 25 million records. However, despite the success of Megadeth, Mustaine still wasn't happy. He continued to judge his success against the achievements of his former band. Unfortunately for him, this band was Metallica, one of the world's biggest music acts. Because he compared himself to Metallica, Mustaine considered himself a failure, in spite of his obvious successes. Mustaine's persistent unhappiness highlights a common danger: measuring one's success against the success of others.
Woohoo! And today, this is one of my free gifts to you. Shafaruddin, koda na be sorry na video you ha enko baby. Why? Sleep. Very important, especially Eid Mubarak Habibi koda. Obeda be sorry na asema making e waka. Mo amuti no or say Mustaine no na oye musician. Na owo band bim. Ne band no was Metallica. Obviously, those of you who are into music know about your friends and Metallica. Metallica is a crazily successful band. Like, their success is out of this world. It's no point trying to defeat Metallica and to overtake Metallica. But Mustaine no, not dia person where ya so person che Metallica for ni so me mistake. It's a person the band they better say Metallica. The band is also successful. Or 25 million records himself in his band. Good music. But the good music no was not selling more than Metallica. And so they be or your failure. That's the problem. The problem is measuring yourself against Obi. Wouldn't be a shepherd. Yes, you will win Shafaruddin the same village. And when you the same secondary school, Albert Johnson, good morning. Moko the same secondary school. Good morning, Emmanuel Ankama. Moko the same day. One no na free the same yard. Metenya side and I started life with you for the Michiamo and okay, Albert. You know the feeling is mutual. The love is very mutual. Meaning the free dear for no, and you have to understand this thing. You must identify one casawa values. Adia our person way, and yes, our person will pay you doors, will be there. And yes, our person nipa so doors will be there. And yes, our person will seek our word also will be there. Albert, your value should actually be measured to you. As so with me, catch one said, I want to buy this car next for me. Miss Aka when I'm person. That will be to me a toss car because it is what you want to buy, not because it's the biggest car there is in the land. When Saka no, you give yourself a chance to be happy. Fred Akomechiao. You would do one year per se, the nicest car in the block, brah. Well, when you pray our person nicest car, I'm a man say, me say be Debbie for more. Debbie. Me so me nice car. The problem is that what person would a nice saying me the answer why you're satisfied is the reason why you drive one of the best cars, but you are not happy. You are not happy because Obi the best one saying with you for sure. Wako school pa, but Obi a school saying until they be as a person won't you want to be good night, Mammy Benewa. Sleep well, Miriam. You want one would you need to be the day they be if you make comparative your friends say they be you will find disaffection somehow because Obi the people when any massing. Wow, Woma. What it Woma, your children are doing well. That should be enough. There is no award for having the best children in the world. There is no award for having the richest children in the world. There is no award for having the handsomest husband in the world, the most beautiful wife. Obi you know fasting with you. It is a comparison in our share. And you want the trump card or is you have a recipe for unhappiness. And yes, Sir Dave Mustaine story is one you should go and read. You should actually go and look for interview or grantee na also to say akoko. He broke down on the interview. He was crying like a child. The reason being, Metallica was more successful than him. And all his life ambition was about making a band which was better than Metallica. And because the success was being measured by what happened to Metallica, no matter how successful his band became, when to me I enjoy. Anyway, I am introducing to you Blinkist. Blinkist that you can go and you can read and listen. You can have a read to you just as I am. Amen. Oh, welcome home. My family and I, amen to that beautiful prayer. God, please listen for us. Story no oguso udieti.
For Mustaine, the only way to feel successful was to be more successful than his former bandmates,
How sad.
which meant he was doomed to disappointment.
Yeah.
It goes without saying that you need to find healthier values to judge your achievements by.
Bam.
Pete Best is a brilliant example of how the right values can lead to happiness. Like Dave Mustaine, Best was kicked out of a band on the brink of stardom. Alas for Best, this group happened to be the Beatles, the biggest band of all time.
Yeah.
Watching his former bandmates reach the top, Best fell into a deep depression. But then he switched his values. He realized that what he really wanted in life was a loving family and a happy home life. Sure, he still wanted to play music, but he didn't want musical success or the lack of it to define his life. This refocusing led to a happy, fulfilled life, and Best even went back to enjoying making music again, this time for less successful bands. So, our values are more important than success when it comes to happiness. In the next blink, we'll look at how to find the right values to live by.
There you go. And blinkers, no, say na blinkers net here. You should try and get some of these learnings because your community no start learning way and share that automatic home. In some communities, parents nature the community values are represented, and these are the community values. But baby, nobody talks to us about these things. Yeah, one ya pet banchi be at your wolf from wedding, no crew now and Gladdy Glady. It's saying, I hope so. Here, Michelle. For your chiminia. I hope so. Will be here. Sister, now welcome back. Me say, your community names are fundamental teachings here. As I may be children, yan chile. You mudu don't know I wo yan ye bo pilolo, and your bo chaskele, and your bone crew, ye, and ye nenamha. The actual ideologies and philosophies for aligning what you know, yen shedan chile, Yahoo, it's the same. Yen chile anima way, baby, me baby, me free, and your routine anyway. So it's important say ube to immerse into some of these environments so that you can listen to this. Yes, many people tend to focus on shitty values. So it's important to find good ones. It will become BB actually what then the next question becomes what are shitty values? Shitty values in the my main checking says you be shitty values and none of pay me blinkers na me can be actual. Blinkers let me say was 7-day free trial. Ube to me wako sign up with link and media by the book we are reading. The subtle art of not giving a fuck Mark Manson book no. And all my selecting from the book and all my blinks learning points at the amount. It's learning points nibi and I make kind chill and pay. My kind book no.
Blink number 3. Many people tend to focus on shitty values, so it's important to find some good ones to believe in.
Bam.
In the previous blink, we saw that measuring your worth by comparing yourself to others will only lead to disappointment.
Correct.
And this is just one of many shitty values that can derail you on your path to happiness.
Correct.
Consider pleasure, for instance. Many people choose to make pleasure their priority in life.
Ouch.
And yet, chasing pleasure above everything else isn't healthy. In fact, it's the central value of drug addicts, adulterers, and gluttons. Research has shown that those who regard pleasure as the greatest good are likely to be anxious and depressed.
Did you hear that? People who regard pleasure as their greatest good, you will end up being anxious and depressed. Because in this life, in this life, it's whether you must pause, slow down, work, achieve. Why now about what church? I don't speak the alphabet you are writing. One, I can't even read your name, and I clearly can't read what you are writing. But good morning anyway. I hope you are well. If one do, at the saying, yes, say pleasure chases, your end result is depression and anxiety. That's it. Let's go and party, sister. Party. It will take you to a point to be a or say, Sadian is the central value for those who become drug addicts, adulterers, a jamai for. And yes, and you're normal. Jamai normal. And I'm winning. Adultery is not normal because a won't sign so be breed him and nipano will boy jamino. Any nipano and ne what's any one more only one to 10 chain. There are no winners in this one. Glad you when you're welcome with the Yamiase. Oh, sir. Oh, God bless you. God bless you. I will try my very best. Solomon, it's saying. Etiti adewe, you see nipano a woman ye jamai for. Glutens, a woman mudidi, a broso. I've been a gluten before. It's all about pleasure. You are near the ube do a food diabetes, hypertension, anxiety, depression, After we are just all year, you might be answer. They say, they are underpinned by people who seek pleasure. Pleasure. They don't want to work. They want to just enjoy. Onis council pursue party. Hey, one of the values here I will describe it. Values are most Ghana for represented here. Problem no I Ghana for no. I feel na okay animal will be it begins to make a lot of sense. I'll say it's a shitty value, pleasure seeking, no, above everything else, no.
Another shitty value is using your material success as the yardstick for your life.
Ouch.
Whether it be hankering after a bigger car than your neighbors or flashing your brand new Rolex, this value is incredibly common.
Yeah.
And you've probably bought into it at some point.
Yeah.
But it doesn't lead to improved well-being.
Oh dear.
Studies have shown that once our basic needs in life are cared for, extra wealth doesn't increase happiness.
Oh, wow.
And chasing wealth can even have a detrimental effect if we chose to pursue it over values like family, honesty, or integrity.
And you see values, you know, shitty ones need be unnecessary comparison. Another shitty one is materialism. The bigger house you get is what gives you value. The more education you get, the more D&D you list in your matintin. Look at my watch. Mokai Shatawale. You guys remember Shatawale and Simon? The £2.50 shoe case, you know. Yeah, very classic. Very classic. But they say a detrimental. What started to measure by Sani Emmanuel and they thought that we national TV so I will review. Now, Bray said the shoe is minding his business, and it was nice, sexy white trainers. There was nothing wrong with it. But that bedroom baby, because there's an no value and why it will spill over on national TV. No beer who baby with GD. Yeah, you who is away materialistic. It lost respect with some people. It was laughable for some people. Yes, see, okay. It's good to whine and moan about some of these negatives, but what I like about these blinks is, or negatives, no, positives necessary over it. Or say, the better values to live life with is things like family, the people who will rally around you and support you when it all crumbles. Honesty, no quality, we do no criteria for. Now we inviting so we need and integrity, which is everything for me. Albert Glass and integrity. Or shitty values and non-shitty values, and then the most important thing is how can you avoid the shitty values? Sister, I am quite.
So how can you avoid shitty values? Well, adherence to shitty values most often derives from a lack of worthwhile values.
Okay.
So if you want to be neither blindly hedonistic nor covetous of your neighbor's new Mercedes, you need to identify values worth living by.
Correct.
These good values should be based in reality,
1,
be helpful to society,
2,
and have an immediate and controllable effect.
3.
Take honesty. Honesty is a great value to live by because you can control it. Only you can decide to be truthful or not. It's based in reality, and because it provides truthful feedback to others, it's helpful. Some other values that fulfill these 3 criteria are creativity, generosity, and humility.
And what kind of work? It's taking the book, it's picking blinks from the book, and it's actually teaching you. And Niema and Faswo was as I see. It's here be an papa and children say honesty. Yes, I do. You realize honesty. Creativity. The reason why you are poor is because you are not creative. So I said, no, first, the reason why you are poor is because you are not creative. It's not because the best school. It is not because it is not because Alexandra Palace. It's not because it's actually because you have no creativity. And it's a poverty of the mind. And no is the greatest of the poverties. But our ideas when it's removed me at Danny Baku say I live both lives, and I can tell you, Sister Adjoa, good morning. I've lived the poverty, scarcity mindset before. And I am learning to move beyond that scarcity mindset in pursuit of abundance. And I can tell you, say, I am just as skilled as I used to be. Skills in the forefront share that make I am still as creative as I used to be. But they drew baby, Now me refi me. It drew baby, Now like me capable, let me creative. Means me who the me de be. Say me wo hey. I'm a man saying who pe scaredy, who me actually quick book bi. Na ma twere, na ma ton. Me ton kakra me di, na me ko no. I'm a man saying ye course bi na me create course no, me na me ko no. I'm a man saying ye na ye nkyere kakra, ma course tena baby na me ye nkyere, na me nye scaredy. I'm a man saying to bibi na ma pe bibi na ma ton. And because they say my mind is actually in the creative zone. Minya problem at me tena solutions because now I know say Annie, good morning, sis. An absolute pleasure. An absolute pleasure. Because I'm learning and I'm hoping say when I put the learning out like this, Nipeni B will tap into it, will utilize it. Wow, person one kasa okoji Blinkist no. With the link not to her. You can click on this link and go try the Blinkist for 7 days free. Remember, so when you watch this episode, Obe cancel before the 7 days are over. So we decided the annual subscription is $89 for the whole year. $89 gives you access to this learning and it is priceless. Which you $89 now you can go and select the books you want to focus on. And I was joining Blinkist first, and I was selecting any we you're interested in. And based on any we you're interested in, it will suggest the best-selling books in that area. And you will click on the best-selling books, then it will bring you the blinks. Into way blinks, yeah, me is from one of my favorite books of all times, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. It doesn't read the book to you. No, my kind book, no. And they summarize the learning from the book and they bring you blinks. Blinks, no. The last one I'm going to share with you today is the victim mentality. Victim mentality and the problem with the victim mentality. They be mekasa about Ghana for yes, you get this a lot. Most of us in Ghana, you're victims in our mindset. And the way they hear me say, and the way I'm meant to be, and we blame other people because we are caught in the cycle of victim mentality. Problem or whole. Sometimes we feel like victims, but positive change only happens when you take responsibility for your life. Ghana for my shadow. This is my final blink for today. So when you're a victim, you don't see positive change. That's what I'm trying to tell you this morning. As long as you think, so papa for one school, the day you realize that you can change a quadro. That's in your hands. The day you realize, so won't share down for what and then crofonsem and kum konkonsa be waste of time. And you know baby, and the day you will realize, yeah, Media, it's saying good morning. The day you will realize, so what quadro, concern what they say adaji. When near one share some fan share wabrabo, na one new wabrabo. The plans you don't have for your life, you don't use strategy for your life. When they nam we attend to baby and from abebo could be an awoko. And nunti no wabrabo because I dream be an wabrabo no. And ya bema bia ye ne say wabrabo. Actually, bema krono was say wabrabo. Utimi ba wabrabo because one man hokwan. It is ye pejimi for back one was a scenario no minu akujina who say ye wa. It is fault. It is your fault. It's that who say bema no what wabrabo what it's your choice no. So that who say you have choices to make. Ubetimi ni sa bema na tokos watenase. Ubetimi renegotiate said the bema na ne wote. Impo abrabon relationship na endia. You might learn a lesson from that one and make sure that the next person you choose is worthy of you. Instead of saying say bema no nenye and a bema no and a bema no and a bema na you say na ni mami antete no sister nyansani bema ni mami antete no na wone nete auntie bema na ni mami antete no you could have seen it na ni mwie wo ye de sa na Ghana for yete anamuni ye ba ye be kan tan and me kunu no and what say and what you say and mate kwan the man ho kwan man yes na mani nyina and that's what this blink is all about. In order to make a change, a positive change in your life, you must take full responsibility. You must sit down and say, Ama, I goofed. Me na me di ma dear bra. Oh, the video paused. How? I beg. Please, you. Can you guys hear me? The video paused. How? Adeɛ, I hope say laba before they have one and your mom kanyina. You guys, can you hear me? If you can hear me, just say yes. Maybe test it with my device and I could hear, but I don't know about more emotion. Can you hear me? Oh, you can hear me. Good stuff. If you can hear me, let's go. May say it is. Oh, thank you. It is because it won't take you responsibility. And then a conference neighbor. I mean, Cassim Chilo. I'm answering what he says. Hear me. Many couldn't let it and they hear me. Yes, meet me a case me couldn't hear me. And it's a possibility. Meet me aka. In fact, me bet na have a catch them say me couldn't hear me blame me kunu and me couldn't yes say and me couldn't yes say. Those of you who want to listen, or you can actually listen to it and you might even find sympathy in it for me. And me and me couldn't and they have me. But no kure woman. I'm answering. So who couldn't nye and 1 year Jumakara and 1 year day. I'm into winning, sir. And this is the alternative discussion you have with yourself. I'm a man said to winning, sir. So that said, maybe some question, taking full responsibility for what's going on. What me who says I'm a one, sir. I'm a car, my papa, you cry name war. Wouldn't him say, will be to me a baby, dear man. Yeah, meet me a baby, dear mamma. Wow. It's yama. Wouldn't mean your way, Into what would you say in the end? Mimi choose to say, me, yes, and mano. And no tina mimi kunu, it's minimidi here. In fact, there is no point coming to sit here and tell you, say, me couldn't hear me. Me can't. Say, me penesu say, hear me. Me met me a year, a bread me kunu edi here. And I'm winning. Me kunu no ko beti nya bo me fom ama me ne me manyina ya brabo asei. Me pa beti me atena hwahwe. Ama nasi. Na me dia babontia be catch him and he should have paid the children's school fees. He didn't pay the children's school fees. He didn't pay this. He didn't go here. And ni nyina you true and legitimate. But say ama man say me nyansa what I can decide to do is say ama when you see papa ya nkese so wo boa ma yesa na me wanye. Nti sister me say no when choose you no nipa ne mwa wo ma wonye sa ade no. What are you going to do? This is the full responsibility rhetoric no. But trust dream who we are ma catch say ama the truth of the matter ni papa we onim sika so hwe. Nti firi neko woni ni sika sem mo betitim. Wunya 5,000 cedis abeka chere say 500 ne da ho. Na the 500 na ma no. Eno de wonim say wo be say no. Into 500 now betimi ama na say no na dia ma na dia aka no betokuru bim dia kwhye obehwe enkwara ni school fees no instead obema sika na kita say ni person wonu ne nkotia enkwara school fees abra woni se sika na enuru ba bia wode na ebe pam enkwara ni ntimi nko school ama mansen obepe nyansa kwan ya yetutia enkwara school fees. You will send the money to the school's mobile money straight selelem. Na school mobile money for saka na school for that me checking kwara school fees no na wo money go school I will say no kre ukunu no oye sansa ni de no kre ukunu no onim sika so hwe no kre ukunu no oye niema no aka wo pese wo complain aka betimi a complain ni nyina. It is true, but sa niema is no longer negatively affecting your life because one kasa adjust the one powerful one hunu say control one sem. You can take charge of certain situations. You can manage things. That attitude is the difference between suffering the enkabe suffer and moving forward. Moving forward is all about taking responsibility. Mumi enti blank no we are na fe ma wrap it up ni yeko. And e free buntu.
Blink number 4. Sometimes we feel like victims, but positive change only happens when you take full responsibility for your life. Every year, thousands of amateur runners take part in marathons. Many of them do so to raise money for good causes. Even though a great many struggle to finish, most marathon runners are proud of their achievement. Now imagine that instead of volunteering to run a marathon, you were forced to take part. No matter how well you actually ran, chances are you'd detest the whole experience. Feeling compelled to do something robs it of its joy. Sadly, many of us go through life as if our experiences were imposed upon us. Whether it be a failed job interview, a rejection from a loved one, or even a missed bus, we see ourselves as the unhappy victims of life circumstances. Let's look at an extreme example of this phenomenon. William James was born to a wealthy, privileged family in 19th century America. Suffering from ill health, he would often experience bouts of vomiting and back spasms. His early dream was to become a painter, but he struggled to make his mark, and his father constantly mocked his lack of talent. So he decided to pursue a career in medicine, and then dropped out of medical school. Unwell and unhappy, with neither family support nor a job, James considered suicide. But then he read about the work of the philosopher Charles Peirce. Peirce's central argument was that everyone should take 100% responsibility for their own life.
And then everybody should take 100% responsibility. Or you can hear on YouTube, 100% responsibility. Don't even give 1% to another person. Yes, other people could be giving some of the blame, but don't wait. Because in fact, in order for other people to be able to affect your life, you must give them permission. You must invite them to your life. You must tell them your story. I need to know what to be doing. As I said, Oma who crying will be bang one side with me doing someone be. Because you had a friend. I want you better. First, we depend on the men, then we blame the men. We are victims. MY. But you see, you must take 100% responsibility, not even 99, no, 100%.
Message that struck a chord with James.
Yeah.
James realized that his misery stemmed from his belief that he was a victim of outside influences. Whether it was his sickness or his criticisms, he blamed his situation. He couldn't control it, made him powerless. He realized that he was actions. With this thought, he started afresh. After years of hard work, James went on to be a pioneer in American psychology. So, victim, remember William James and try taking responsibility for your own life.
Correct.
Tell your partner. It would be all too easy to blame your former beloved for being cruel and uncaring. But wiser to know you were responsible for the relationship's failure. Perhaps you neglected your fair share of housework, or maybe you didn't support your partner's ambitions. By realizing and working on your mistakes, you can avoid them in the future. Only then can you live a better, happier life.
Correct. Do I even need to speak? I don't think so. Anyway, those of you who want to go, where they tease and I'm okay, may the show free and I be platform or so I may master me blinkers. I'm with TV. But what I'm actually saying to you this morning is that there is knowledge available. There is a lot of information available. So book you can come to Blinkist and you can come and acquire the knowledge that you would have got from the whole book, condensed in simple forms like this, illustrated by examples. Book learning and no share. I said you'll see characters, no Blinkist, no. It allows you to find the right characters to affirm particular points. Very important when you are going on life's journey, to have some backing. It's a business episode, you can get links which talk about business and help you to know the current strategies and for use. It's back strategies and for use. It's a unit some appeal. Ignatius Newman, Eunice Ellen Quasim, Solomon Opuku Iceman, Fred Comfort, Kukwakwa, Mechemina, V. Ahaji, saying, I hope to be call. I'm just talking to you about Blinkist. A person Mumubi, Equa checking Blinkist. A person Mumudu Dronoa, Equa signing up. I've put the link on the screen, pin it to, go and check Blinkist. Go and do your 7-day free trial at the very least. $89 doesn't break the bank, but those $89 could actually transform your life. They could transform your life. They may catch the winning. Check Blinkist. One can books maybe. If you don't know the kind of books you need to read, or select here areas that we're interested in. And then once you move past that point, it will suggest the books, and you can check the books out and pick titles from there and learn. It's been eating you up the whole night. Why? I don't even know why I wanted to do this. So I was just compelled to do it. So I'm so glad, Kukwa, you've made me feel, you've made me understand the reasons why I felt compelled to do it. I feel much better. That's it. Books, no, we ask you, I trade to the books, no. And near man who wouldn't know and to say, Wababonko, you need an for I can once the data. It's recorded in text. Yam pad the kind, yam pad is and most of us think, say, Jama, you know, okay, no, I can be. I need to charge the laptop. There we go. It can be it's much better. Say ubenya nimdie nankasa. No use nimdie nankasa. Now with the progress. If you use nimdie for progress, on tiny mistakes. Methods now we use tried and tested. Say method now we use and tried and tested that. And a tack of 5 fans and with trial and error. So come and check that. Definitely, I will put out a few books for those of you to check. Book no make kind of where this learning is from. It's a subtle act of not giving a fuck. Nipa no try, you know. A friend of Mark Manson, but me no. Book in your media. I don't get paid a dime if you read the book or not. But I recommending it to you because it has transformed my thinking. Me tea or blankets. Me one audio book. Me one PDF version. Me one physical book no. Maybe I could be a sell book need to making kind. I thought I could at my bedside, not because I'm reading, but the title reminds me of the things I've read in the book. So that's me, baby. Now, if I'm giving a fuck about things that don't deserve my fucks, and my kai say, hey, I'm an idea we are here. The next thing I want to do is me be trying to me and full details of how I wait in your book. But me Nidin de Hannah Awaji. Mrs. Hannah Awaji. But the other name near Ajua Okorewa. Book here actually near divorce. Now this one is a big one. I've just received. She sent it to me. Yes, marriage is beautiful. So is your uniqueness. Pursue both. That is how she signed the book for me. That's how she signed the book for me. You are so sleepy. Oh, sister Koda. Koda na abeba na video no ha. Enko baby ya. Bookie. I know Sister Bookie is going to go and shake a few of the strongholds because Miniano, she's gone through some of the life your friend say big ones. And also near divorce is a must read for everyone interested in the institution of marriage. In this book, Ajwa shares a bit of her marital journey through a compilation of articles she wrote at a time when she was going through marital crisis. This book will help you, man or woman, to define yourself in marriage. Ajwa shares very interesting thoughts on divorce. We need to follow the tried and tested so that we cut out on the trial and error. Errors, you know, sometimes it can be very, very expensive. Mistakes need to be. I say my children, Avery Aram Awaji, Aaron Agbeko Awaji, and Abigail Asiyi Okorewa Awaji. My perfect and wonderful gifts from God. They mold my life the way I want it. My extended family, I can't list you all, but I truly appreciate your prayer, support, and to every person who reads this book, I thank you. This book is successful because you chose to read it. Bookwe, see a kind. Maybe sir, I try baby any book no. This far no Ghana News Agency. I think it's an friend and I think it's a Ghana News Agency. I hope say o contacting one will be to me amount your friend is saying the actual direct way to buy it. Hannah, if you see this more ammonium Hannah and tag ne mame or the Hannah Awaji, Montagane mame, na omrani ni sankomowi. Well, see, the institution of marriage has taken a beating in recent decades. It's gradually becoming a social construct with its divine imperative ebbing away rapidly. We see people getting married every day, and yet there seems to be an equilibrium in the number of marriages and divorces on the registry. This perhaps might be due to people not taking time to examine the ramifications of being a spouse and eventually a parent. The hop in, hop out characterizing postmodern marriages should be of concern to all persons who thoroughly appreciate the value of strong marriages for the good of the society and the building of a strong nation. Marriage, whether carved within the religious confines or non religious setting, elicits the same value appreciation. Properly viewed, contracted, and nurtured, it has the elements that create strong familial systems. This creates psychosocial environments for the partners to find harmony and achieve some of their developmental goals and expectations. It further enhances a well defined environment within which children are raised, with the likely outcome of the offspring growing up to achieve growth and fulfillment. Ajua Koriwa, Mrs. Hannah Awaji, after decades' experience as a spouse and mother, pours her heart out in this book. Her intentions are to share her own, sometimes cascading emotions, and other times uplifting ardency in her journey as a working mother and a spouse. I am afraid to continue to read because I suspect I know what's coming. These are personal reflections and not an academically researched work meant for ivory tower environment. Hannah, as I affectionately call her, is not a theoretician, but a practitioner. Her intention is to provoke conversation and the sharing of experience with the reader. She is strategically positioned to trigger this kind of dialogue, writing as an insider. Near divorce, the caption alone, Adiepena. Yeah, it sends chills down my spine too. And Meno, I know this journey quite well. And so she's talking about her journey as a spouse, as a mother, raising children, feeling abandoned, not feeling the support you envision you should get. Sometimes, especially in the Ghanaian setting, you will find a celebrity husband with you in a marriage with children. Hey, also not everyone may agree with the perceptions and conclusions, but no one can read this book without getting fresh insights and appreciation for developing themselves for marriage and other parallel relationships. Reverend Kingsley Kwekujechi is a pastor in the Presbyterian Church of Ghana and chaplain at Achimota Secondary School. I'm saying forward Also, it was 4 days to your wedding. At about mid-afternoon, thereabouts, you got a call from a truly close family member who also had a key role to play in the ceremony. After the usual exchange of pleasantries and how the preparation was going and the like, she dropped a bombshell. She said to me, "Mama, that is how I'm affectionately called at home. Yesterday, I went to a prayer meeting. There was a prophetess around my area here who is very powerful. She revealed something." Sister Pam. I was all quiet, waiting to hear the revelation as she continued. The prophetess asked me if I was going to travel for any ceremony. When I said yes, she told me that the person whose marriage ceremony I was attending will lose their husband's love shortly after they are married. So please pray about it. Wow. Before the marriage. Calmly, I said, "Okay, I will pray about it," and ended the call. I, however, resolved never to speak to her again at that point. I didn't care whether she would make it to the wedding or not. Oh, she called countless times afterwards, but I never picked her calls. I only saw her at the wedding ceremony. I am writing this book near divorce, 10 years after marriage, and if there's anything I'm very sure of now, it is that my husband loves me. I have never doubted his love for me. We have had other issues in the marriage which I thought should have been enough reason for divorce, but we are here and perhaps happy. I dare say that I am happily married, and she's put it in inverted commas. I have been unhappy in my marriage a few times, but most of the time I am happy because I've discovered myself in marriage. I've always seen myself as the no-nonsense type of person who does not tolerate abuse, discrimination, and people riding over me in marriage. I honed those characteristics, and I am happily me. Sister Pamela, I will find full details of the easiest way for those of you abroad to get it. But at the moment, it's from Hannah. Hannah, it is sending me. or you can get it from maybe I'll can if I was saying I'm not sure I mean cancel Ghana News Agency. I'll see if we Ghana News Agency. Share contact details now or the man in the for the time being, just note the title, pick the little bit I am sharing with you here, and then I'll give you the opportunity to find it and read it yourself. Also, spirituality. As a staunch Christian, I believe that marriage is ordained by God. The scripture tells us that God created man. He realized that was no good for him to be alone. So he created for man a suitable helper. So marriage is spiritual. It is an institution started by God himself, and it's the foundation of all human societies. I believe that when we get the basics of family life right, we will have very limited challenges in our society. Nonconformist. I themed my 40th birthday nonconformist. Through marriage, I discovered that I'm nonconformist because society's opinions have never bothered me. Even though wrong opinions about me can get me a bit depressed, sometimes I am able to quickly shrug myself out of it and move on with my life. Commitment. I got to understand the word commitment better in marriage. Because in marriage, your commitment can be tested and challenged. I'm sure that the majority does not understand and take seriously the marriage vows they repeat. Words are powerful, and as a Christian whose priority is to live a life of integrity, the words "till death do us part" should mean a lot to you and to motivate you not to get entangled with anyone for the sake of marriage. Commitment is a difficult thing, and it becomes even more difficult if you are not staying in a happy marriage. Some people believe that human beings by nature get fed up with each other. So in marriage, if extra effort is not put in to make living together enjoyable and fun, one is sure to struggle with commitment. And sadly, our thing. Aya, what's at sadly if you especially Nancy and Crofua, one more year age, they no longer respect their vows. Have you made it easy for them to respect their vows? Have you made it easy for somebody to live with you? Have you made life fun for the person who is with you? Are you fair to the person who is with you? Because if you do some of these things, then you make commitment easy. Depending on how you make commitment easy. Some of you make it nearly impossible for people to remain committed to you, especially now saying what I really struggle with myself. And because I struggle with how to get my head around it, and I find it very difficult to do it with Nkrofon I am a coachy woman. Obi or how say I might as well be with a ghost. I say, hey, I see you know, until count. Obetia baby boy ha naturally say ebinutia. They pay, but we don't see them. And no cry a problem. And some of them don't pay anything, they don't do anything, they are not seen, they are not visible. It's nipa national be stand say, am I married or am I single? Which one am I? When your answer, what my commitment I ding. Nipa ne what's in who was so fast. What my commitment a ding. Our ding. Put up all your nonsense and not find any your friend is a benefit, adding you. Commitment is not something one person does, especially in marriage. Commitment is not something one person does. Commitment should come from both people. And so that we can collectively help each other to continuously find commitment. Commitment is something that needs affirmation. Usubai and the affirmations no. To be hard, ne yira ye ni bibi tan pa, but to ne bo ase hwa say afene. Ade we ya wo ye said you tie we ade we intimate me de mani ato. Utimi ma nipa ni bibi ma ne de nani to a. Wo fom po a to da nipa ni timi de che e ma ne ye. Nipa ni bi wo ha oni ni di nko bi say wukunu wabo o se da bi. Wukunu waka o se da bi. Watin o se da bi. Efi ho oye na sede o se ane. Oh, na sede de me intro. Oye. We are representing into problem and castane saying. As me who so fast. and it's artist I didn't partner see me who so fast. It's me who so fast. Minia. And then the last verse I'm person to show in this particular episode, many people who so fast what. One can say this, I won't say also fast when I say. Pamela Tete, no one in it, no fast when you also. What is it about you? Pamela Tanasi being who beat me, I can say, I did win tea. Edward Lanko, my wedding, I can let it go because of that way. Maybe an admin didn't come. Oh, yeah, Nikuno that because Nikuno, a grand Ajubia or back pain. At least Nikuno and Ajubia one more better. Papa didn't send me and the Emma back pain. Utimida. And that commitment, a papa ni show no in massaging or in a watch at the during the day. And I do no more better. I thought that cry after here. Into a train after better. It is half another. He will never let her sleep without that massage. He will never let her sleep without giving her relief. Nti saa deɛ no akwa ne yɛ no mani hunu sɛ wɔpɛ n'asɛm. Mani hunu sɛ akwa ne dɔ no. Yes, they have their challenges. Wɔn bɔ atwɛdeɛ akɛse. Actually, say adeɛ a ti no wɔn mi di nkɔmɔ ne yɛ adeɛ akɛse sɛ mani gyae ne kunu no kora kɔpɛ baabi kɔtena. Na emu saa deɛ no a papa no yɛ maa ne hunu sɛ wɔn dwen no ho. And no matter how annoying the woman is, the papa will still provide the massage. Yes, you could go to the massage parlor, or wait me among because or person actually couldn't say, "Oh, hear massage," but this man will not let it go. One night, where me and the on it to sing, obey me and that shows her say, "Papa, committed." He's not always enjoying the ride, but he is committed and he is determined. And also so challenge, yes, say this is a good challenge to leave the marriage and divorce. And or decide this and will divorce. Question nobody can ask her any question. But she does not want to because Papa show commitment at determination at It was also she's called me or person name me to handle so that she can make it possible. Abdurrahman, it is saying, also if Makonya Brown, I hope say Cameroon is treating you well, and amen to that beautiful prayer. I send you a double portion of Sampai Bonoa. Obadi Humene Abdurrahman Namobo. Nene should I give you it's Bibisao, Antoinette. Abdurrahman. I'm a true answer. Yeah, no, dear Naya, see evidence here, my and when this woman was speaking, and I mean, who you know, goosebumps. Oh, then you couldn't need that. The commitment of Papa show you, working through a difficult phase and still being determined to massage her. And also, so she is determined to remain married. Remaining married is mentally challenging at the moment. And she is paying me as a counselor to work with her, to help her manage, to help her find affirmations because and I'm like, wow. When you are so lucky because Papa so BBB and Papa no decided to obey massage. Oh, citizen, not spectator, me that's it. Papa ni who be bibi won also ne ho enti no decide say wo ho say kra maybe me wachi ama ade e ma wachi yo ya na yare nti e be fa ne say yare ni bia tie si wadwene mu wo ye nkwase asese ya bia wachi ama e po le de wada kra me bia wachi ama because me say bia wachi ma wa it will give you some relief ya juma ma me but mayo juma no enti no say say so TV as say so me ya wa ware da eto eni bitibwa e pressure papa ni bigidi e pressure papa ni ma bebre dia dan say say ware fun ese nka bia ho but say the nipa no so tinye di show me determination no me so should South City. Citizen, Nadia way. Eh. Yeah, no, sorry. Sorry, sorry. I'm back. To say, how are you doing? Your concern is some of us who are you are living in the there's a conversation and there's a lot of men and women who tell me I provide this, but you know provision is not relationship. Nti mo bi wɔ hɔ akɔtena diaspora for years. Wotu sika de ma ne no, sister ne na yɛase ne keka no. We sika no wɔde sending no does not replace. Sister no ɔpɔ obi ne ne di nkɔmmɔ. Nkɔmmɔ no wɔpɛ so no obi. Sister ne pɛ obi a ɔbɛmiamia n'akyi. Not pay the tomatoes keke. You need to recognize the background. Yeah, I didn't know one number. Yeah, they number. Can you guys hear me now? I hope you can hear me. Make a same way briefly as support namako. Don't get divorced because yeah, boy, this internet. Boy, I can because at the end of the day, it's not mathematical. Yes, I hope so. And marriage and the of marriage why they will find you create those freedom. Mempɛ sɛ moyɛ the people a motetete hɔ a hwehwɛhwehwɛ nneɛma bi a na moyi mo ani ato nkyɛn na akɔfa nsɛm Sorry, I had to change from laptop no onto this one because Wi-Fi near me rough. Sorry about that, guys. I had to change between, I hope so. You guys can hear me. Oh, I hope so. Internet was giving wahala. I've gone onto the mobile, so I hope that is better. My connection is very sick today. I'm trying so hard, and it's getting nowhere. Anyway, Master Man, I'm a catcher, man. And those of you who are fashionistas, I am in my home. I know, say you see me on camera, but I'm actually in my home. Me wo ya fe na me ba be friends and na makope bibia di. It be fie. Me nne na mabonten. So I'm actually dressed for my home and I am speaking to you and I hope some of you are able to rise above that and listen to the message. And then I want to conclude on marriage. I want to conclude on something I know a lot of people don't understand. It's one of the things that causes a lot of the problems that I deal with. When you will be to why you must create relevance. As I say, you should not be the kind of person who is with Obi and you are just there. Osuni mfasobia. Ukunu sore no wohwehwe mfasobia wo so a. Wo mfasoa ne so no aduane. Aduane de it be turn abontin the sister. Mfasoa hye de ni so saw. Say mema no aka na bills na be hwefie and I pay and I say money you know they can pay. They can pay their own rent. Don't want they can buy their own food. In fact, they can pay their children's school fees. What you say? It is a relationship no a one ne wo no. The value nyina ni sika no a ode ebehye no a menua. Ebema relationship no finding value for it ayedin. There must be other things bi onipa na brabo mu a won ko na witimi yema no. And you must look for sa niema and do them. And then that mema example obi say ni kunu nachi eye ne ya ni kunu na kusua se de si miemia nachi and papa no why na be say afna ne te sen during the day or ye den obi miemia nachi ama no because onim say sa de no e de pre no say Eric na make a bills de obi atibi to be say I can tell you on good authority say maybe fee hey bills panty and say maybe kunu ti han kam ko bi akode dada na bills say bills in you there be a person must have more value beyond bills. A person must have more value beyond service because any many people who make an inkuku mu chuchi ni aduane no obetimi afa obi betimi afa per house help so we met na han wo menu aduane no me aduane obetimi afa cook say car can driving and na the only value I would about relationship your wife can now find a driver no betimi akaka ne de na ba handiwork with you ho and like any service oriented that type of any many be a hope and I will value what problem because nipa say obetimi anya and Crawford do a bit me provide this service no provision and also say and non quiet fan more relationship more. In fact, the most important thing to do with a person is have a relationship with them. And komo bi a one neighbor non kwa na bit me nabo. The security they provide you, we are concerned it to send me a utimi ba who be do conconsa abra winim so bia nkwato to baby ya. Ujimia or run a protector bone by and yes in relationships especially for us women it is about protection and defense so woman and microphone titine obi kasa by heart as hey you cannot speak to my wife like that and you say one of the greatest attractions I mean in common and saying he didn't even protect me in front of his family his sisters could insult me and he didn't do anything brother. If you are the kind of man who is allowing the people in your network to harass your wife, insult your wife, disturb your wife, abuse your wife, intervene, you are making it difficult so sometimes with the justification. All my justifications may be a ding pa. And then now me person me pimp this point. Me this see baby sister Hannah. The near divorce book no mafa. Na me best start ya kind. Na maka mu nsɛm akyerɛw ba me difference free Blinkist na me ka akyerɛw sɛ wo a wonte about Blinkist no I'm introducing it to you kwana kwa application no me the link ato so sign with my link go and do the free trial we free trial ni wie na wo betimi a continue the subscription $89 a year does not kill. But just in case the $89 no for whatever reason you don't want to pay, remember to cancel the subscription before the 1 year lapses. It's been a pleasure to have you here. Sorry for my internet. And you're correct. I thought I say Messiamba, we will discuss quite a few other things, but for now, let me love you, let me leave you, and hope. Say adieu. Adieu, my Phil. I have feed you. It's really good to see you. Really, really good to see you. I hope say ene the mubenya no ubitimi di bia bobra. Kabichire will be, Fatagi will be, Shema will be, no so nya so far so any be na yenko yenim. I'll be back in and we will discuss other things. Mwah. Bye for now. Bye. Yeah, so it's all about maturity, Charles. It's all about maturity, of course.